almost a law of history that the same wealth that generates a civilization announces its decay. For wealth produces ease, it softens people to the ways of luxury and peace, and invites invasion from stronger arms and hungrier mouths. Will Durant, who was a historian who studied success and failure and all the most kind of big kings of our history, philosophers, and really what he's talking about here is complacency, and that's what billionaires, who I've been studying as well, been reading up and studying a lot of billionaires, such as Andrew Carnegie, Jeff Bezos, owner of Amazon, Sam Walton, Henry Ford, who Napoleon Hill did a lot of study on, Ray Dalio, Richard Branson, Warren Buffett, Steve Jobs, and even Donald Trump. So there's a lot of things that there's traits that each of them have, but some of them are very different. They follow different rules from each other. But I was looking for a bundle of about 100 things I wrote down, and I gathered some of the observations that I've made. Thanks for sharing, Michael. This has also been shared into Ben's Business Book Club, which is a community of entrepreneurs and avid readers of business and personal development books. So by studying all of these people over time, I'm very interested in the autobiography, which is the actual person, their philosophy, coming from, for example, I'm reading about Andrew Carnegie at the moment. And Andrew Carnegie has an autobiography which he wrote himself, whereas there's another one written by, I think the name is David Nassau, and he is writing a biography about, so a commentary on Andrew Carnegie's life from all the pieces of information he gathered up. And some of the stories Andrew Carnegie didn't tell, Andrew Carnegie maybe painted this picture, he wanted people to know about him for his legacy. And it's really interesting when you study it from all angles, like study a person quite deeply from all angles. And that's what I love about biographies and autobiographies, and studying specifically very wealthy billionaires, millionaires, successful business owners, and successful people in their field of their line of work, and how they did it, and if they follow like some common rules. And I have found that they do follow, billionaires have some commonalities. And so here are the 6 commonalities of billionaires. The first one, and I'm following the same structure as I did last week because I think that worked quite well, doing a countdown to the number 1. So I'm starting with 6. So number 6 is hunger. So that quote that I mentioned at the beginning about the peace and luxury, once someone is actually wealthy or successful, and that actually brings on complacency, and what it breeds is like invites sort of hungrier people. And what I found is that all these billionaires are hungrier, not just hungry. Like a lot of people in business are quite hungry and competitive and aggressive and going for it, but they don't really stay long enough. And the billionaires of the world and historically are hungrier than everyone else. So that's number 6. Get my hands right. Number 6 is they're hungrier than everyone else, and that's why they end up at the top. Number 5 is they have solid values, solid philosophies, and solid goals. And these are goals for the business, but goals also personal goals. And for example, Steve Jobs' famous advert, the idea of like the value behind Apple is really pushing the human race forward, and that's really what Apple's vision was. And Google have different like really huge visions just like this, but all these big brands are behind a visionary who had clear values and really solid values, solid philosophy around about life and what's the meaning of life. And then like, so with those values and sort of philosophies, they have a mission and a goal and a purpose that they are using their business as a tool to make happen. And that's what really drives these people. So solid values, philosophies, and goals is number 5. Number 4 is they go first. Billionaires go first. And what I mean by that is they have calculated courage. So courage, the word, the definition really is not like the absence of fear. It's knowing the fear is there, but knowing you've done your maths, they do, like, these guys do their accounts, so they know that this is a good opportunity that they're going to jump into before they do. And even Ray Dalio talks about an idea meritocracy, where he won't just trust his own judgment and intuition. He'll actually have some other people giving some feedback and ideas and bashing and tearing it apart before he goes ahead. So having the right people around them as well. So they go first. So they want to be in control. They always, if you imagine like the way that birds fly, they're always the one at the front. And the reason for that is so they have control. They make the ultimate choice. They lead the way. They say, let's do it because I know that it's right. And that's the kind of where they have a lot of confidence, go first. And it doesn't come from like not having any fear. It's just because they've trusted themselves. They've got some maybe wins behind them. And what I've found is like some of them have not always been like that, but momentum has brought them to a point where they're like, this is a good idea. I'm going to create a new industry, and they're just going to go into it, and they're just going to start with their own idea. They might gather some feedback from people and then gather some data, but they always go ahead first. So they go first is number 4. They go first. Number 3 is they are all ferocious readers. They love their books. Like Jeff Bezos started Amazon, which was actually originally a bookseller, and he's just started building some physical bookshops. He invented he made the Kindle electronic book famous and popular. And he has always been a massive fan of reading and self-education. And every other billionaire that I've looked into has the same addiction. And I think it's a very important habit. The average CEO, they've said, reads 52 books per year, so a book a week. And Jim Rohn also mentioned that as well, that one of the best ways to become wise or to be successful is to read a book a week. So read a book a week, that's probably a good action step to get from this, as well as they all read books. So it's a possibility that you should read books if you're wanting to make £1 billion or $1 billion. So read books. That's number 3. They're all ferocious readers. They're not just readers. They didn't just tinkle. They read a lot of books. And Andrew Carnegie's philosophy around like kind of how to live was spend the first third of your life learning as much as you possibly can. The second third of your life earning as much as you can, and then the last third giving it all back, which is exactly kind of what he followed and what he did. And that obviously that's just one suggestion of way to live. And number 2 is they are all visionaries. They're all vision. They all have a vision, and they see opportunities. They have this great imagination. They can see this brighter, better future that nobody else can see. They're just enthusiastic about this vision. They're hopeful about this vision, and they really do see it coming true. And they're very stubborn around that vision that they have. So this is what a visionary does. They paint this picture and they sell it to people, and people buy into it, invest into it. And it's just an idea at some points, and they get this momentum, and the idea becomes reality, and they manifest it. And that's what true visionaries do. They come up with this vision from their mind, from nothing, from thin air, and make it a real thing. And that's what one of the top traits and commonalities of all the billionaires have, is they're visionaries. And the number one trait that I've seen is they're active. You'll never find them stuck behind a desk. They're on a plane. They're networking with people. They've got purpose when they're networking as well. They're not just going to networking events. They're going to networking events to meet one person. They just don't get stuck behind a desk. They don't get stuck on the phone. They're really careful with their time, but they're also really active. And when they have time, they'll go out and they'll be doing something purposeful towards their vision, towards their goal. So that's all backed up behind that having a goal, a really strong goal and vision and mission. And that's what drives all their activity. But that's ultimately what it is. They're always active, on the move and speaking to people, speaking to their employees, speaking to their executives and investors. They're even out looking at their competition, seeing how they're doing things and how they're doing things well and how they can improve their processes. They're speaking to their accountant. They're speaking to other business partners, and always creating more opportunities by being very active and going outwards, being kind of outgoing, not in the sense that they have to be like kind of extroverted, but even if they are introverted, they're forcing themselves to be out there in the world to speak to many people and gather lots of ideas and bring all these ideas into the business and embed it into the business, the good ideas into the business, to grow their one thing that they're growing, which is their business and their baby. And that's all 6. So they're hungrier. So I'll go backwards. They're hungrier. They have solid values, and they have solid philosophies and solid goals. They go first. The ferocious readers, visionaries, and number 1, they're always active. So I hope you found this helpful. That's the 6 commonalities of billionaires. This is Ben's Business Podcast, episode number 79. And if you're watching it on the replay, please type in the comments, #replay. If you're watching live, give me a thumbs up and let me know your thoughts. If you've got any comments to add as well, it's like, what have you noticed from millionaires or billionaires? What's the commonalities you've noticed that I've maybe not added on this list? I really did have to do a process of elimination to get it down to the 6 that I really do think are quite common, and a rule that almost they all follow, or rules that they follow. So thanks for watching. I hope you found this useful, and please share it, please comment, please like it.